Great job.
Now it is.
Welcome, everybody, to Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey panel. We have our wonderful panelists here today. We're going to start with the one directly to my left.
/ right.
So introduce yourself. Oh,
It's all in perspective. It's all in perspective.
Hi guys, I'm J Boys. I write Rise of the Mystic Mage and A Touch of Power. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop there. That's cool. That's me.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Hello, my name is Rachel Kirk. If you ever forget how to say my name, imagine me, Captain Kirk in the face. I am the author of the Knights of Eternity trilogy. The final book is out in 4 days, and I am super excited. And I'm happy to be here.
Hell yeah.
Harmon.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Harmon Cooper, otherwise known as Goblin Wrangler on Royal Road. You can visit my website, harmoncooper.com. And currently, my current series that are still ongoing are Reborn Assassin, which is why I'm wearing this mask. That has one more book left. And the cozy lit RPG fantasy, A Pup in the Underworld. There's one more book left of that called A Market in the Maelstrom, which is finished and it's out next March. I also have Doom System Survivor on Royal Road. I'm publishing a chapter a day. And I'm working on a co-write with Luke Chimilenko called Aetherforged Rebirth, and that is almost 75% done. And so that's what's going on with me. Hi, everybody.
Thank you, Harmon. And TJ.
All right. Hey, everyone. I am TJ Lombardi. I am author of the Dying Breed series, which is a epic progressive fantasy, soft magic system, soft progression system. I've got Bloodbath, also known as the Scalpel Chronicles. That series is a lit RPG first-person shooter assassin series. It's like one of the most brutal, violent series in the genre. And I have Golem Master, which is complete opposite. It's rated T for teen, and it's a little slice of life Pokemon Transformer Gundam combination. So yeah, happy to be here.
All right. So I'm excited for this panel. I've been looking forward to hearing the different perspectives of slice of life and also the different action, because we have a lot of different and panelists here that have different views, and so I love this. And so my first question and that I have for you guys is, what do you feel your book brings to the genre that makes it unique? And I think I'm going to pop over to Rachel because it sounds like, or it looks like she's ready.
Yeah, I was like, oh, actually. So I think the thing that makes Knights stand out is it is an isekai, but she doesn't immediately like get hit by truck gun and jump to the world. You actually spend 7 chapters or about 6 chapters in the real world to see like what life she's leaving behind and like what's going on. And the other thing that makes mine a little bit different is she's actively trying to get home. I think a lot of isekai, they're like trapped in the world and, you know, that's it. And they make a new life there. She's actively trying to get home. And that's the whole point of it. So I think that's kind of my little twist on the genre. Also, the good guys ended the bad guys and bad guys ended the good guys.
You have to flip everything.
No spoiler.
All right, Jay, what about you?
So I can only write slice of life, apparently. I didn't set out that way. It's just the only thing that I can write. I literally tried to write something other than it didn't work. It turned into slice of life. So that's just that's all I can write. And to be fair, like I am way more slicey than most people in the genre because like I'm 4 books in and I'm 15 days into the world. And or like I'm 2 books in and I'm like a day and a half into the world.
Oh wow, you've got Brian J. Norton beat in terms of the Quest Academy, and it's like a book is like 2 weeks of the semester.
Yeah, no, it's bad. I get 3 days on Mystic or on Siphon, the Touch of Power series. The most I did was 5 days in one book. Most of them are 3. So, it wasn't something that was really being done when I started writing. I didn't know, at least I didn't know very many people who were doing it. And so I was just writing, and I just kind of wanted to, like, I was writing a book, and somehow I didn't even know the term slice of life when I started writing it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if that answered the question.
That's perfect. Let's go to TJ for this one.
Oh man, what does my book bring? So with the slice of life, I read Quest Academy, absolutely love it. It's my favorite series, but I was like, I love how there's no rush in this story. And it's literally written with such a level of immersion that you are right there with the characters. And so it was literally Guildify Con last year. There was a panel with Michael Chatfield, Brian Norton, and some other people. And Michael Chatfield said, I think we need to do more with golems. And I remember standing there and I got hit with lightning, not like Michael had, but I like rushed over and I was like, holy shit. And the reason was I absolutely loved Pokemon, right? I can tell you the exact day where I was when I first found Pokemon. I was like, this is amazing. And so I stayed with Pokemon until about Gold and Silver. And then I saw like 1 or 2 episodes of Gundam. And, then there was Transformers in the Pacific Rim. And so I was like, how can I reach this level of nostalgia? I want to tell a story that encapsulates all these things into one. And so when Michael Chatfield said golems, I was like, now I know how I can tell this story. But the thing that added to it was I just had been writing this extremely violent story that only a very niche group of people will like. I always wanted to write a story where I felt dad and son could sit down and read it together. Or if they're going to go out on a fishing trip or a camping trip, like dad and son can literally listen to a story and just have fun together. And so I was like, you know what? Put away the profanity, put away the extreme violence and sexual content, and just write a feel-good story that literally has life lessons while still capturing that person's imagination of what if. So that's what really Golem Master is about, and that was my approach to the slice of life story.
Why can't I add it to my list?
Well, it's not out yet.
Oh,
Not out
Or
yet.
it is on Royal Road.
So
though.
close.
okay. All right. That's fair. I was like,
I
why
mean-
isn't it not letting me in?
I mean, I've got it pre-ordered,
out.
but that's just me. Harmon.
So, someone help me. The premise of this panel is one of several things. Is it A, cozy fantasy, or B, the usage of time in the way that we write genre fiction, or C, something that I'm missing?
It's the best way to describe it. It's the feeling of the slice of life.
Oh, okay.
It tends to be everyday rote kind of situation.
Yeah. I've done this. I wrote my a slice of life that won Lit RPG Independent Audiobook of the Year in 2020. And so that would be Sacred Cat Island. I was just confused because people were talking about the time usage of time, and that's something I'm actually like super interested in because it's always a challenge as an author to. It's easy to really just like go like moment by moment type. I feel like it's very hard to like do like a 6-month stretch in one chapter. And that's something that even after I'm moving toward my 100th book now, that I still can't do very well. And so I think that's hard. But back to the slice of life thing. I have 2 slice of life, or could be considered slice of life series. One is a standalone, that's Sacred Cat Island, and as I said, the audiobook won an award, which is cool because but that has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with Travis Baldry, who narrated it. And the other is what I'm currently publishing, which is a Pub in the Underworld series. And I like it a little bit better because there's more action on it. But it does go day by day because every morning the main character wakes up with a warning that he has a certain amount of days until the invasion. So the first day it says you have 89 days until the invasion. The next day you have 88 days until the invasion. And the reason I do this because I really like the tension it provides, but it's something that I've been working on for a while. This idea of using, which is why my new series is called Doom System Survivor. I'm very interested in the usage of time as a like a doom mechanism. And so while like this guy's a pub owner in the underworld and he has a really cool like sentient cat, all these cool things are happening. He also has like this pressure from that waking up every day, that knowing that it's just closer to something that he doesn't know what it is. So that would be my usage of time. I actually do prefer the slice of life thing. I just want to challenge myself and actually be able to, like tell like a whole year of story in like one book, but we'll see if I can get there.
Hey, Harmon, if I may ask you a kind of a follow-up, you said like, I
Please.
can't do like a 6-month span. So is there a certain time frame that you're comfortable with to be like, okay, I can jump this far without there being this disbelief? And how do you work the timeline with all the experience you've gotten?
It depends on the project. Like the thing is with what I'm working on Royal Road right now, which is coming out next year through Aethon, it actually is very much like what Jay was talking about in terms of like the first book covers 3 days. Because this whole an apocalyptic event has happened, and now this guy's he's been told you have basically 3 days to get as much power as you can and reach the gate. And so it just like literally I'm at 95,000 words, and he still has 25 hours left. And he also keeps getting countdown reminders going along with the Doom System idea of like how much time he has left. So when I frame something, it's because I'm more of a gardener when it comes to plotting. I live my life day by day, and I don't, some of you that write a bunch, you probably like, I don't really need to plot as much as I need just to know what I'm going to write that day or this week or whatever. And so it tends to make it easier to write. But that's why I want to challenge myself with that. And I think with a project I'm doing this next year for Podium, I'm going to really try this time frame. And I started actually working on it today. Like in the first chapter, it covers like 18 years. And I'm like, okay, let's see if I can do it. So we'll see.
In my defense, my first chapter of Mystic Mage does cover like a month. I just don't really care.
Hell yeah. I like covering.
It almost sounds like a resume of bullet points. Like this happened, and then this happened.
So on that same point, this jumps into the next question. How do you as authors find that balance of action versus making your story feel like an everyday routine for your characters? And mind you, I'm not just talking about slice of life, I'm talking about any of the genres. So I'm going to go back to Harmon for this one.
I'll make it fast because I could go forever. Because of the way that the serialized fiction has changed the fiction that people are consuming, because of how that affects the algorithm, that has changed the way chapters operate for me. And it's more of like a cliffhanger situation. Even in my cozy fantasy, I have cliffhanger. But it could be something like, should we have tea or biscuits? And then, like, we don't know. We got to go to the next chapter to find out, right? Because cliffhanger doesn't have to be someone, about to die or anything, but it can be. So that's changed that a lot. Like that. So there will be action, but it's usually. I read this advice in one of the private groups I'm in that, like, you can you can like cut the action right before, like, someone's about to punch or do something, or actually finish the entire action scene and then go up like 1 to 3 paragraphs and cut there and then move that to the next chapter. And that's like a way to like quickly cliffhang. So now my newer fiction, it kind of goes that pattern. So I think those are kind of like interplayed with cliffhangers and the action.
Okay. I'm gonna go to TJ for this one as well.
Well, that's a great question. And I think, honestly, it's just how do you balance conflict, tension, and struggle and tribulation, right? Because that's what you're trying to do, I feel like, is your main character needs to overcome these things. but also from a slice of life, where can I add drama? So, I mean, as you know, Kyle, because I know you've read Golem Master, like there is certain points where I was like, okay, if I don't have a Golem match right here, I'm gonna like, the reader's gonna forget what they're supposed to be looking forward to. So I would add it
Absolutely.
at that point. But then, as you know, there's times where we have nightmares. Nightmares can create tension and create emotional issues. You have school bullies or anything else. So you can create tension. And I was just always having the break of like, okay, what's a daily life event and how can I make it either like really bad and hard for him to overcome or like really freaking funny and something where you're just like, oh my God, I know exactly that type of friend who would mix shrimp with a milkshake and then be vomiting, for the next 4 hours. But that's why we still love that friend.
That is so disgusting.
Do it for the gram.
So gross.
Do it for TikTok, for the followers.
Oh, that's right. How about you, Rachel?
I'm just mainly sad because that would get a lot of likes on TikTok in the ground.
Boy,
Oh,
It would.
I'm absolutely certain it would.
I'm really sad now. So I think because mine is one of the reasons I want to do this panel is Stephen. One of the reasons I wanted to do this panel was mine is technically much more of an action story, but there's a lot of like taking stock of where she is, what's going on. She spends a lot of time in her own head. It's a much slower paced story in parts than it is with others, of a similar nature. For context, about a girl who gets trapped in the body of an arcade game villain, and the moment that pops out to me.
By the way,
thank you, thanks, Phil. The moment that pops out for me, I think, is an example of that. Is she meets like these big bad guys that everyone has been terrified of for like 2 books. So she meets them at the end of the second book, and a lot of how I deal with, she slows down and she's like, wait, what the fuck is going on? There's so much more to these guys than what I thought. There's a big mystery that's revealed. And how I balance that is she's learning about them. They have a different method of time. They count things in first dawn, second dawn, moon peak, twilight. They different categories are, different actions are put into different categories throughout the day. They're very strict and regimented. So she's learning more about their lives and that's that tension and conflict there as she's freaking out. So it's like trying to create that balance there, and hopefully keep it interesting. Yeah.
oh, absolutely. How about you, Jay?
So the honest answer is I don't.
Good girl. Good girl.
I just write whatever I feel like. I'm like 5 chapters into book 5 and I'm like, I haven't made it past second breakfast. That's just how my writing goes. And like, there are some very action heavy sections of my books where like she's fighting an entire city of monsters, or like she went to the forest and is tracking down a whole bunch of monsters, or like there's also just, hey, I'm at a ball, or I'm trying on clothing today, or I'm in class. Like there's my answer is I just follow my timeline of whatever's happening. Like I don't actually try to I as long as I'm having fun writing it, I feel like people will have fun reading it, and so I just don't even care. I don't have the craft. I don't worry about it. I'm just like,
it's not so much about balancing in action. I mean, for me, I love an action story. It makes me happy. Like Rachel's book, just that just makes me happy. And I love your books, Jay. Like I am a massive fan. So for some authors, I believe if there is a need for finding that balance, but for others, sometimes you just gotta punch your fans with some of the craziness that is writing, and that's just my opinion. So we had a comment or a question, and from Tim Margetts. I have a theory that the Doctor is trapped in an isekai loop. So who is your favorite Doctor, and can you imagine them in a lit RPG book? I'm going to hop over to Rachel for this, and then I'm going to go to Harmon next.
like, okay, I know it's controversial, but I absolutely loved Matt Smith's Doctor. Okay, I know everyone was like 10 for Tennant, but I think Matt Smith is such an oddball that I think his Doctor would be absolutely perfect for Anisha. That was the question, right? I didn't just get okay. I thought I just got distracted thinking about all my favorite doctors.
That was
okay, good. I think he would rock it. I think he's weird enough. Whereas I think David Tennant's hair is too nice for an isekai. I think Matt Smith is where it's at.
Yo, my favorite doctor currently is my dermatologist because I had a rash for a long time, for like 6 years, and they could never cure it in America. And the medical care here in Portugal is a lot better. Sorry, America. And he cured it in like 2 weeks, and it was so much easier. And at the hospital, that it's a private hospital, it's just like a 10-minute walk away. And so I really like that dermatologist for a number of reasons, but that's being probably the biggest is like, he cured me. He's a good doctor. I also like my general practitioner there, but when I talk with her, she kind of rushes me a little bit, but that's because I talk a lot.
I missed that season, dude. Is that after Capaldi?
Yeah,
I've never watched Doctor Who in my life. I have no. So you guys, when you said who's your favorite doctor, I was like, fuck it, let's go. I would shout out my dermatologist. I mean, I don't even know his name.
I haven't ever watched it either, so I'm like,
yeah, like I mean, this is like being on a panel at Dragon Con when you're like, when they're like the one that you and I were on, Jay, where they're like, oh, Jay and I. Okay, this is funny. We were on this panel and it was like about fantasy gaming and stuff, and we thought it was Lit RPG. It was before Lit RPG was a thing at Dragon Con, or it's just starting to be, and they start asking us about it. We start talking about our writing about Lit RPG, and the guy in the audience like raised his hand. He's like, this was about tabletop gaming. And I'm like, oh, I don't even fucking play tabletop games. So this is, I'm completely out of this panel. Jay played some, but like, yeah. So that's us. It was funny. It was pretty funny because we were up there like, oh, dude.
This is what you get, Tim. You got to clarify your questions. Otherwise,
yeah, man.
Up with a random.
But if you want to come see my dermatologist, he will hook you up.
Right. Exactly. How about you, Jay?
I've never whatever doctor is the one who did the episode, I've seen like clips of it where he takes the artist to like a present day museum and
is Doctor Strange one of them? He's a badass doctor.
Yeah, I like Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange.
The guy that was in the new one is cool too because he was in that show on Netflix. Where it's like about kids and sex. I forget.
Yeah.
Sex Education. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I like. I like the actor.
No, it's Van Gogh. He takes Van Gogh to like. And that's like the only clip I've really seen.
What about you, TJ?
Yeah, TJ, you got a Doctor Who?
I have not watched a single episode of Doctor Who. Therefore, the best doctor is Dr. Pepper. Fuck all the other doctors.
Yeah.
Good boy.
And as far as trapping someone in an isekai loop, though he is not a doctor, there is a very specific character of Michael Head in Golem Master where he's just going to be the mad scientist who thinks he's a doctor. So, yeah, he's probably going to be my favorite.
How did you guys survive the 2000s without Doctor Who? I swear to God.
Simple. We watched other shit.
We don't live in the UK. Well, I live closer to the UK now, but we don't live in the UK. So, I mean, it's somewhat of a thing in America, but it's more niche, in my humble opinion.
Harmon, I also don't live in the UK. I'm Irish. Be careful.
Oh shit! Yeah. Well, I mean, you're close enough. I mean, you guys get the same fucking Sky News and shit, right? Like, it's the same television programming.
I will allow it.
Yeah, come on.
Is your version though rainy news instead of Sky News?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna jump back to some other questions. So
wait,
hold on. My friend's asking me about
Rachel, you don't even live in Ireland anymore.
Yeah, take a piss. Well, not on video, but you know what I'm saying.
You can take the piss out of Harmon. There you go.
We gotta have to. All right. So, what are the?
I gotta answer someone about a unicorn bolo tie. Give me a second.
No problem. what are the influences that helped you choose the specific subgenre that you who like to write in lit RPG? And this isn't just slice of life. If this is grimdark, this is action packed. What were some of the influences that helped you choose to write in those subgenres?
I can
Jay,
talk
I'm gonna
about
go
this
with
one,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, please.
So Overgeared was one of them. King's Avatar was a huge one. The oh my gosh, I just lost the name. The series that Royal Road is actually originally from.
Oh, Brian was talking about it like 2 days ago. I forget.
I just lost the name.
Do you remember Rachel? Rachel might remember. No.
Do you think I don't listen to Brian?
Legendary Moonlight Sculptor. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, Legendary Moonlight. Okay.
Sorry, I was like, I know the name of it. It's just gone for a second. And then also, so those three were really hugely influential in starting me into all of this, because I read Legendary Moonlight Sculptor a few years before, and then I got introduced to King's Avatar, and King's Avatar got me onto all of the genre and web novels, and that led me to Royal Road again. And so like that whole trail, Legend of Rendedly Ghost Town was probably was the first one that my brother and I read on Royal Road. And so like that kind of got us both into the genre, and it like we fell in love with it from there and just kind of never stopped. So that's where I started.
Nice. I'm gonna hop to TJ next, and then we'll go to Rachel.
What were my influences? I kind of mentioned them already. It was Pokemon to a really big degree. There was Quest Academy that influenced me on the crafting side, and I had already started to co-write Project High Def with Ryan Maxwell, which was also very heavy crafting, but it was a use of technology within the magic system. And so I was like, okay, my approach to this was, how can I blend technology with magic together? But I don't give a shit if people like this story or not, because like I already don't have a whole lot of readers. So it's like, I don't care if I write this story and no one likes it. I'm going to write it because I love this, and I love these characters. I love this world, and I want to spend as much time in this world as possible. So I kind of just threw caution to the wind and wrote exactly what I wanted to write as the story came to me. All my other projects were very heavy planned out, whereas this was very much like it's going to come to me as it goes, and I'm just going to have plot points. So I was like, okay, well, there's some episodes of Pokemon where there is no fighting, there is no action per se. It's literally like, here's just another tidbit of the world and some little feel-good story to get you on. And so I was like, okay, some chapters are going to be a feel-good, have fun. Some chapters are him thinking he's fighting for his life against a demon mauler or whatever.
I love that.
Okay, so for me, my influences on actually the specific trilogy. Basically, I got COVID and was like sick as a dog for 10 years. For 10, not 10 years.
Did
10
you
days.
have your
So you're the
holy
one that
shit.
released it.
I got COVID, was sick as a fucking dog. Like, I was delirious. I was so ill. And I basically ended up reading this batshit Korean manhwa called Beware the Villainess. That was an isekai, but she gets trapped in the body of a villain. And I was like, oh, you can do that?
I love
And
that.
again, it's
One of
not
my favorites.
that mind-blowing of a concept. There's plenty of stuff like mangas and anime
There's
about
a
it.
lot of it now.
There's a lot of it, but I had never
Absolutely.
seen this, so I thought this was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then I became obsessed with like, okay, if I want to do my own version of that, what would it look like? Also, I like really tall, muscled ladies, and this was my excuse to write a character trapped in the body of one. So those muscled women and manhwa are my two influences.
Nice. What about you, Harmon?
So Rachel heard this story yesterday, but I guess it's my new backstory because I never actually revealed it until this con. So in like between 2008 and 2010, I can't pinpoint the exact time. My dad, he lived across from a farmland, and it rained, and there were a bunch of mushrooms. And he was like, "Do you want to let's go get some of those mushrooms?" And I was like, "All right." And so we went across and kind of snuck onto this property and gathered a shit ton of these mushrooms. I'm talking probably 4 or 5 pounds. And he was like, "All right, well, I'm going to make a mushroom tea," without actually knowing the dose that he probably, which is not like one or 2 grams. So he boiled it all down into this tea with orange juice, and we both drank it. And oh my God, I really, really hallucinated, but not like the type of hallucination where bodies are separated, because that is a possibility. I wasn't that far, but I was like, I can't play video games anymore. I have to give up video games completely. And especially because I was playing a video game at the time and there was a glitch. And the glitch was I was like, I'm wasting my time. So for 5 or 6 years, I moved to Asia, and not because of that. And I didn't play video games, and I missed them so much that I actually started writing in the genre before it was really a foundation of a genre. And I just missed playing video games. And I'd read Ready Player One, I had read Sword Art Online, and I was reading Charles Bukowski's Ham on Rye. And so that's why I wrote the Feedback Loop. And the only reason I got into the genre is because, of course, I released that and no one gave a shit. And I read another book from an author who said, a lit RPG who said he was from Austin, Travis Bagwell. And I emailed him to say hey, I think I write in this genre. And he introduced me to everybody. So to get to cozy fantasy, I just kept doing that for 5 more years. And then in about 2020, I had a cozy fantasy idea because, everyone was on lockdown and my wife was playing Animal Collective and or Animal not Collective, that's the band, Animal Crossing. And Animal Collective is a fun band though. Yeah, it's a band though.
1984.
Yeah. It's a real band though. But she was doing that, and my dad had just. Yeah, she was doing that, and my dad and I was watching Studio Ghibli movies, and my dad had just passed, and so I wrote Sacred Cat Island before Cozy Fan. It was before Legends and Lattes and all that. I just thought it was slice of life, and then I realized later, it's cozy. So that was the path from mushrooms with my dad to I guess now.
Harmon got high.
But he doesn't now at all. I'm the soberest.
Fever dreams. It's all good.
The soberest dude. Well, I do vape a little CBD, but other than that, I got some losartan for blood pressure. But other than that, nothing.
All right. So we have 2 authors here that have basically stuck to one subgenre, and 2 that have had an opportunity to write it in multiple subgenres. For those that haven't had the opportunity to write in the other genres, have you ever had a want to write in another subgenre? And if you have, what would you want it to be? And what would you hope that your story portrays to the fans, or that you would want it to come across to the fans? And I mean, this is for all 4 of you, but because I know that TJ, he's written in 2, who I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up writing in all 6 or 20 subgenres. You know how amazing he is. And Harmon, you're just absolutely a genius. So
he's Harmon.
Harmon, he's written everything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, to my own detriment. Actually, okay, I'll take, but I'll make it precise. Now, if I had the choice, I wouldn't have done that. And now, if I haven't had a choice, I wouldn't have dabbled as much because I've been on a really big From Software kick over the last year, but I'm not good. I don't have enough time, and I'm not good enough to play the games. So I just watch YouTube videos of other people playing them, which is really sad because I used to make fun of people doing that, but it is what it is. And what I've noticed is, from Demon Souls all the way to Elden Ring, it's the same system over and over again. They just keep making it better. And that's what I would do now. And that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm basically, I'm tired of having to reinvent everything and try something new because the payoff is often not there. I'd rather just do something good that is Harmon Cooper and then just continue to do that. And so while I have a few more, I have one other cozy fantasy book coming out, but it's already finished. I don't think I'll dabble again for a while because it takes a lot out of me to write in that genre, like emotionally, and the reward isn't there in terms of like, you know, keeping the lights on. It's a lot harder. It could be there. I mean, you could be the next Legends and Lattes, but you're probably not going to be. And so, and unfortunately, you know, I do this full time and I support my family. And so I have to do what works. And that's one of the things I would do differently now. I would have stuck to a style and kind of honed that and made it better and better. Because if you look at Demon Souls and you look at fucking Elden Ring, you can see it's the same shit that they made it better, deeper, smarter, and cooler. And so that's what I plan to do from now on.
I mean, you may not be the next Legends and Lattes, but you can be the next Madness and Mocha. So, you know, don't be too hard on yourself.
Well, what bothered me about Legends and Lattes, and not at all the story, it's great. I was a barista for 5 years, and I'm like, why didn't I fucking think of this in a coffee shop? Because I was literally a barista. I know like everything about a coffee shop. I was a barista at Starbucks. I was a barista at independent coffee shops. So I know how to make all the drinks. I know how to do everything. It's my one other skill beside writing. And I'm like, why didn't I? Oh my God. And now I could never do it.
You could totally do it.
Just reverse it. Be an evil barista.
No. I'd feel like I was cramping too much on his style. Someone else should do it.
I mean,
There's always bubble tea as well, Harmon.
Yeah, I look at it in the same sense. Like I ran away to evil, and that is such a unique version of a cozy that sort of fits in the same point as Legends and Lattes. It just is amazing.
I love I Ran Away to Evil. Absolutely adore it.
Yeah, go for it, Rachel.
Well, so this is my first trilogy. So really, after this, I'm not kind of like I don't
have a million plot buddies already ready.
No, so I was gonna say the next one is hopefully I have an idea for a Magical Girls and Mechas alternate universe. But that's kind of I don't think I'll be genre hopping a tremendous amount for exactly the reasons that Harmon outlined. One, I don't think I could do other ones like super well. I think my action will always be a little bit slower than say very heavy action paced stuff, and there'll be a little bit more introspection. But I don't think I could ever turn around and say, you know, write a craft simulator kind of style book, you know, for instance. So I think I'll be sticking in my wheelhouse, but hopefully doing something a little bit different at the same time, personally.
I know what my next two series are going to be.
Yes. We got something out of day.
It's the first one is going to be a card portal apocalypse. I've been really into that for a few years, but I just really enjoy it, and I've written like a chapter and a half of it because I don't know if I've mentioned this, but all of my books come to me in dreams. I lucid dream every night, so at some point, all of my book bunny plots were from dreams, and so. The card portal apocalypse one is going to probably be my next one, and then I also have a cultivation on standby.
Yo, have you read I'm saying it wrong, the Yaki Way of Knowledge, like in any of the Carlos Castaneda stuff on lucid dreaming and controlling them? Dude, for real, like you don't need to read all of it because there's like 8 books, but that first book, I tried that shit. You can do it. Like it's like this guy. Who knows how true it all is, but he claims that like shamans. He's a Hispanic guy who claims that like shamans in the Southwest taught him how to do this, and it's basically like he would be lucid dreaming and then recognize that, like look down at his hands, recognize that he's dreaming, and be able to actually control it.
Oh no,
and
I can't. I can control it.
Yeah. But it goes deeper and deeper, and it gets really freaking weird. Like if there's shamans, and then now there's like shamans after him for doing it too deeply. So be careful. But yeah, it's pretty wild. And I practiced it for a while, and I got to the point where I could recognize and like control it some. But then I was like, this takes too much meditation. So it's cool that you can do it without it.
I'm pretty aware when I dream. I'm
you're lucky.
That I am dreaming, and
you're lucky.
So.
And then we're going to hop to TJ.
So it's an interesting question, and it's actually one that our genre is in the community is so amazing because I even reached out to Harmon on this to a certain point because I had 2 very dark series, very violent series, and now I'm writing this T for Teen. And so it wasn't necessarily even a genre hop. It was also a pen name. Should I do a pen name? Should I be myself? And so, Harmon gave his answer, which was really cool that, he took the time to reply back. 1 or 2 other authors replied back. And it's just like anything. You ask one person for their opinion and you're going to get 20 different, takes on it. And it actually came down to my mom. We talk once a week on the phone and she said, TJ, there's certain actors and actresses that you may have grown up knowing them as a comedy actor. And then all of a sudden they transition into a drama or a family. Don't be afraid to expand your horizons and show that you can reach multiple facets. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah. If my main concern is to just write great stories, and I'm not really concerned about how much can I make or whatnot, if I've got financial stability from a 9-to-5 job or whatever, I just want to write great stories as they come to me. So there's some like giant poster boards in the other room, and I sometimes have the trouble of sleeping, and then the ideas will come. So I will run to the poster boards and just start drawing out everything. So there's already about 4 different series that I've kind of subplotted what can be done. And then, as you know, Kyle, I'll ask the Patreon community of like, hey guys, here's where I'm at. What do you guys want? And unanimously, it always comes down to do what you feel. We're just here to support you. And I'm like, shit, that doesn't give me any advice on where to go.
All right. I'm going to make fun of you though for this. Unanimously?
Yeah. Unanimously.
Dude, you're making up fucking words. But
I like it because
that's very American too.
But it's unanimously.
Unanimously. Yep, all the unis are in the sleaze. Okay, the uni sleaze are together and they're voting for the sleaze slay thing. Okay, so when we slayed together, we got
follow your heart.
Follow your heart, exactly. But
I think there's a song about that.
I think even though I'm kind of working on my 12th book per se, in reality, I'm still so fresh and new that I still can devote to a certain path as I'm going. So if Golem Master does have some good traction, I have the ability to know I'm going to follow this for the next 6 books. And then this other series that I've already dreamscaped up is very much in line with that. And I can continue down that pathway as I go. So I still have some flexibility, but that's my take on it. Unanimously.
I love it though. I'm going to use it.
I love it. So
yeah, see, if anyone doesn't like it, at Lit RPG Con, we'll have a boxing ring, and you can jump into the boxing ring, and we'll fight it out to see which way is correct. I don't care.
Oh, that's genius. So this question just came to me as I was listening to you guys. So in the Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey side of things, we tend to see slice of life as just daily routine, everybody doing what they're supposed to do, everything like that. What would you say the genre has yet to explore when it comes to slice of life? And what would you like to see as a fan and yourself to come forward? Not necessarily that you would write, but that you would hope that another author would grab. Rachel, please.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned I ran away to evil, because it was so wonderful seeing a book that took all of the really fun elements of Cozy and also stuck it in 2 really OP characters. So it was like tremendously fun. Like you had her having scones with the troll and had her like, having tea and hanging out with the lizard men. And then you also had her like snapping a griffin's neck. So like, you had both, but it was so wonderfully, there was a synchronicity there. Ooh, 2-pound word, as my dad would say. There's a synchronicity there that was like lovely. And I would love to see more like that. I would just eat that shit up all day because it has the drama and it has the cozy. I'm in a blanket and everything's going to be okay.
That's right. Absolutely. What about you, Harmon?
What is so the genre is not, if we're talking about lit RPG as a whole, not missing anything. Like literally the other day on Reddit, someone was like, "Yo, what was that book about that guy who turned into a salamander?" And they were like, "Oh, that's this book." And someone else like, "Oh yeah, that's also this book." And I was like, "All right, well, if we're to the point where like there's books where dudes are turning into salamanders, like it's probably out there in some way. It's just like how the next person who like hits it hard puts it all together." So I can't think of anything that personally that like I'm like, oh, you know what we're missing, because like it's not that everything's been done under the sun. It's just that there's probably, if you ask one of the Reddit pages, someone will probably tell you like something at least like it. But I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that means that the genre lacks anything. I just think that there's nothing that I want to see that would be like, oh shit, that would be cool if the guy was like you worked at a funeral home or something, and it's a little bit depressing, but I mean it's cozy. And
we have everything.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of crazy how much like you can do with lit RPG, which is why it's cool.
It's true. Oh, absolutely. What about you, Jay?
I'm kind of in that same. I feel like everything is just it's the same story being told in new ways. Like for instance, heretical fishing is one that I read recently that I really love. And to be fair, I hate fishing. I am like massively allergic to fish. Fishing is not fun for me. It's not. It's really not. And if you want a forensic accountant, go read I mean, maybe it's not forensic, but Drew Hayes has a great accountant series. Anyway, but like, here's the thing. Like, somebody just said forensic accountant. I'm like, okay, well, what about the vampire accountant? Like, that, what? Everything's like, it's just a fun new twist on it. And I think about like the reincarnated into a villainess. That's one of those themes that Rachel likes. I really love that theme too. And let me tell you, I have read a massive amount of everything that has that theme. Like,
Give me Rex. Let's message after this. I need more. Thank you.
All right. That's not my current obsession, but it's one of them. It has been one of them. So like all of these things, like there's a whole lot of everything out there, and so I can't point at any one thing and say, oh, I want this, because like,
and that's okay. Like I said, and I love all the different things that lit RPG has brought out.
I'll tell you what I want more. I want more time reversion. I love time reversion. I like second chances. That's like that is my like biggest one.
Regressing stuff is hot right now.
The regression, yeah. It's always been my favorite trope. So
that sort of gives me an idea, but I can't do that. TJ.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to like say anything per se, because maybe I have some ideas of, and you want to be one of those people that launches it. But I love heretical fishing. I'm going through it right now as well, Jay. It's so good.
It is so good. And it makes me so hungry, even though I'm like, I can't eat any of this shit. Why am I so hungry?
To a certain point, I was like, how good are these fucking muffins? Like, seriously? Like, I've had a muffin. But anyways, so I would agree to a certain point that I feel like lit RPG has already gotten so wide of a net that we're able to capture everything to a certain point. What I would love, though, is to see more support for some of our space and sci-fi people to get more love. I mean, Stephen Landry has some amazing books. David Bushman with the guy who accidentally started the apocalypse was hilarious.
Yeah.
Polly, I fucking love you, Polly, that character. So I would love to see more support for already established subgenres within it. And then as far as like other things I'm adding, I will say one of the darker books I've conceived about doing is more like a crime detective with lit RPG and fantasy elements. So I don't know. I think right now we're just at this point that we get to celebrate how great the genre has become with all of the different avenues. There's pretty much, like Harmon said, there's literally a slice for everyone at this table now.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, like for me, probably the only thing that I haven't seen, and that's because I haven't written it yet, is I would like to see more holiday slice of life lit RPG. I don't think that's an area that we have explored enough. I mean, I've seen
Jonathan
some
Schmidt does some with his
authors.
dungeon.
Yeah, Jonathan does his yeah. But
Nothing
you're
gets me
good.
more excited than a Thanksgiving dinner fight. Like, I would just love that brawl scene.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it hasn't been
Watch
explored.
the
I know
bear.
it
There's a
has.
Christmas fight.
I just would like to see some more of it because I think that would just add more beauty to this genre. That's just me.
Everyone's transformed into a dish at the Thanksgiving table. Like, oh, I wanted to be the mashed potatoes. Fuck, I'm the green beans. This is bullshit.
That just
His
reminds
high
me
into
of-
food. Oh, such a good idea.
Have you seen
that?
the?
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say the
No, go ahead, Jess.
no, the candy corn. Somebody made Thanksgiving dinner as candy corns. This is just what it reminds me of, and it's don't. It's bad. Don't.
I'll take a bite. I'll take a Midwest casserole of candy corn.
They had that.
If
They
you
had one
would.
that was like cranberry relish, and one that was turkey, and then a coffee one, and a gravy one. And I'm just
Coffee I would
looking at
do.
this going, oh, this looks disgusting. Like,
Coffee I would do. We don't get candy corn here in Portugal, so unfortunately I don't get to eat
Sorry.
wax.
There was
Oh,
a
Steven,
potluck.
that's funny.
There was a potluck at my old office once, and an American brought in, is it called ambrosia? Where it's like sweet potato on the bottom and then marshmallows on top or something. Ambrosia
just
salad.
sweet potatoes. Yeah.
Hell yeah, and some fucking pecans on there, dude.
Yeah,
Hold on.
yeah. And
That's
I
amazing.
love.
Let's go. I'll eat that right now.
There was a French guy at the office who was losing his fucking shit at it.
It's like
He was
sacre
like-
bleu.
He was like,
What is
"Is it a
this?
dessert? Is it a salad? What is this? When do I eat it? I don't understand what this is. This is so American."
It's a side dish.
It's just yeah, it's an accoutrement. Tell them that.
It was
Just eat it whatever you feel.
well, the thing caused a weapon of mass destruction in the bathroom later, but it was tasty before that. I'll just say that.
Shit, dude.
I believe that too.
Literally.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You're all welcome.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna start giving the outro. But I would like to also ask you as authors suggestions. What rare books that you love that you don't think enough fans have had an opportunity to read yet or recommend. So, Jay, hey, your outro.
So Heretical Fishing was one of them. There's one The Chronicles of Emberstone Farm is on Railroad as well. That was a really fun little cozy, based on Stardew Valley. That's my brain. Which I really love. Elitas was one of the other ones that I really like by Drew Wells. Memoirs of Your Local Small-Time Villainess. Rachel would probably like that one. I'll go with those. Those will be mine for now.
And your introduction to yourself, like what are things that you're working
Oh
on?
yeah, right. Hi, yeah, Jay. You can find me at jboyce.com. You can find me at that author link right there. I have a Discord that I share with my brother that you can find if you go to jboyce.com.
I didn't know you shared a Discord with Xander. That's awesome.
Well, to be fair, he shares it with me. It's my Discord.
You guys are rascally as fuck, man. It's funny. Rascally. That's the only way to describe you
To
two.
be fair, it started as a book Discord for books that I was editing. So for different web novels I was editing, and then I got gypped by the translator who wouldn't pay me. So I was like, I don't need to run a Discord for you if you're not going to pay me. And then it turned into a random book Discord. And then when we started writing books, it turned into our book Discord. So that's
That
the
works.
progression of things. But yeah, so Amazon or jvoice.com will get you to pretty much all of I've got a Facebook group, Discord. That's kind of my thing.
Her books are amazing. Check her out. She's absolutely wonderful. And Rachel.
Hello, my name is Rachel Kirk. The third and final book in the Knights of Eternity trilogy is coming out 1st of November. They are narrated by Andrea Parsnow. The first two are already narrated. They will be out next year. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, buff ladies, shape-shifting badgers, and a guy yelling about mushrooms in the second book.
Mushroom! It's for Harmon. Is it Harmon? Is it Harmon? Should you name him Harmon?
No, his name is Lucas, but I think he'd get along with Harmon.
Okay.
What was the books that we wish we get more love? I absolutely want to second what TJ said. Like Skydivers by Stephen Landry is a great book. I had an absolute blast with it. Sci-fi does not get nearly enough love in the genre, so I 100% agree with that. I love books like Carousel or The Game of Carousel. I think it's like a horror movie lit RPG, and I loved it. Was one of the most imaginative systems I've seen in terms of like how it used the progression in the novel. I absolutely adored it. And those are two shout outs.
So and one more, because you guys keep thinking of Stargazer's War.
Oh yeah, that one.
That's another sci-fi cultivation.
The other one I was going to say, and this is my controversial opinion, I've started, if someone wants to get into lit RPG, I've not been recommending DCC. I've been recommending Savage Dominion because I think it's a great intro trilogy. So yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. I love that.
So yeah.
What about you, Harmon?
Okay, I'm going to put on a different mask for this one, just for Jay. All right, so here's how this is going to work out for the next 5 minutes, Jay. No, I'm just playing. I wish I had some dialogue prepared. I do not. But hopefully my friend did get his unicorn bolo tie that he... See, we have a plan, and here's the plan. Unfortunately for me, I just got my EU residency card, and like an idiot, I instead of traveling in the EU, enjoying my life, I'm literally flying back to America the day before elections. But I'm going to San Francisco where I got a buddy, and then I have a conference I have to go to. And the buddy and I are going to watch it all go down, eating crab and drinking Mai Tais. And so we're trying to match. And so our ideas are like, yeah, we'll wear some bolo ties. He doesn't read books. Not these books. He reads books on breathing and stuff. So that is one of the books I would recommend. I read this book. I think it's just called Breathing, about how we're breathing incorrectly. That's not in the genre. What is in the genre? Recently, I've been listening to Accidental Champion. It's Todd Hersman, and it's a very intro type of lit RPG story. And I kind of like things that are a little bit more in media res, but I've really been enjoying it in terms of just seeing like kind of the old school style of like, starting on level 1 and moving your way up. Unfortunately, I write so much and I have so many projects that like I can only listen to lit RPG because I usually do research for what I'm reading. And so I usually read historical nonfiction, and it's kind of boring. But I would recommend Craig Childs. He writes Southwest travel memoirs, and because probably no one here or watching this has read any of his stuff. And they're really, really interesting. This guy just lives in New Mexico and Colorado, and he just goes to the wilderness and does weird things and finds like petroglyphs and stuff like that. HarmonCooper.com if you want to check me out, which you should.
You absolutely should. TJ, you're up. Oh, you're muted.
Muted. TJ, speak to us.
Thank you. Oh, good God. Unanimously, that was really hard. So I am TJ Lombardi. I am author of the Dying Breed series, author of the Scalpel Chronicles first person lit RPG, and author of Golem Master. So my first two series are on Amazon. Golem Master is available on Royal Road, so you guys can enjoy that for free. And I have a takeover coming up after this, so you guys can come hang out if you want to ask me any questions about any of my books. But shout outs and recommendations of other books. My most surprised series and book that I read this year was Apocalypse Regression by Charles Dean and Ari Mejia. Went into it not knowing or expect anything, and just loved that series, or book, I should say.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I did.
Love it.
I started reading it and I was like, oh, this is written so well. I'm getting nightmares. I can't read this. Trigger
The Guy Who Accidentally Started the Apocalypse by David Bushman. Definitely give him some love. First Line of Defense by Benjamin Curie. Love that book. KT Hana's Overdue. Absolutely
Libraries.
amazing.
Yes.
Love
Oh,
that.
That one
absolutely.
is so good.
Absolutely.
And then the others I would say are on Royal Road, which is Wayspring Warrior, a druid tale or a desert druid lit RPG by Jodan. So that is amazing. You guys need to check that out. And then One Flew Over the Dragon's Nest by Mr. Boslow. Absolutely love that dude. And
Absolutely.
he is a gem of a person. Love him to death.
He's a genius.
So, yes.
So before we go, I'm going to throw in one suggestion that I don't think enough fans talk about. Hunter's Dream Online. It's one of my favorite series. It's been years since he was written, but please show him some love. Show him that you love his books, because he's got 2 of them out and they're absolutely incredible. Thank you guys so much for this panel. This has been amazing. I love hanging out with 4 of my favorite authors. You make my day. So we're going to do the awkward wave of love you all. Geneva, thank you so much.